I'm so excited to share that this podcast is sponsored by The RealReal, the best place to shop authenticated luxury bags, clothing, watches, and so much more. I'm obsessed with gold bracelets. I just found the most beautiful Fendi bracelet. Now, you can scour The RealReal for new pieces. There are 10,000 new items every day. The RealReal is attainable luxury that upgrades your personal style. With up to 90% off retail, you can finally have the pieces that you've been dreaming of from brands like Gucci, Fendi, and Prada. The RealReal is great for the planet and for your wardrobe. They're finding new homes for over 37 million authenticated luxury items, so they know firsthand the impact that resale has on the planet. And it's the go-to place for your next special piece. Think about all the fun things that you have coming this spring and summer. The RealReal is the world's largest and most trusted resource for authenticated luxury resale. With thousands of new arrivals daily, no one does resale like The RealReal. So now get $25 off your first purchase when you go to therealreal.com/KateCasey. That's therealreal.com/KateCasey to get your $25 off. Start shopping now at therealreal.com/KateCasey. Let's be honest, nothing boosts confidence quite like great hair. But if you're seeing more strands in the shower, your confidence might not be at its highest. That's why you need Hers Hair. Hers Hair treatments are made with doctor-trusted prescription ingredients that many other hair products out there just don't have. They come in a variety of options, including oral and topical solutions, so you can find the one that works for you. Getting started is simple with a quick online hair quiz. Just answer some questions and you will be connected with a provider to discuss your personalized treatment plan. Through Hers, everything is 100% online, so no pharmacy trips, doctor's office visits, or insurance required, and plus, treatments start at just $35 a month. And the best part, you can get thicker, fuller, healthier hair and start seeing regrowth in as little as 3 to 6 months. Start your initial free online visit today at forhers.com/KateCasey. That's FORHERS.com/KateCasey for your personalized hair loss treatment options. forhers.com/KateCasey. Individual results may vary. Compounded products are not FDA approved or verified for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan. See website for full details, restrictions, and important safety information.
The amazing Kate Casey.
Welcome back for another episode of Reality Life with Kate Casey. This episode is about Untold, the Liver King, which comes out today, May 13th. This is directed by Joe Perlman and is part of the Untold series on Netflix, which of course, you know, I love this series. In this particular episode, it tells the story of Brian Johnson, also called the Liver King. He would devour raw meat, do daring stunts, including bench pressing 405-pound weights underwater. He would pull trucks on chains and do caveman-like hunting techniques. And in the process, he gained millions of followers on social media. Followers would listen to his diet and workout claims, that he ate roughly a pound of raw liver every day. He shared his workouts and credited his strength to living an ancestral lifestyle. He called his fans and followers primals and encouraged them to adopt similar habits. Now, since he felt alone, like an outcast as a child, in part due to a speech impediment that left him a target for classmates, he sought a different way of living. His father, a veterinary nurse in the U.S. Air Force, died suddenly when he was an infant, and without a male role model, he felt lost. So he began to idolize his older brother, who was tall and strong and able to grow facial hair. And he also idolized action heroes like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone. A former biochemistry student turned supplement mogul, he began posting videos of himself in 2021, and it captivated people. He's consuming raw liver, bone marrow, and even bull testicles, and his ancestral lifestyle included 9 ancestral tenets. Sleep, prioritize deep restorative sleep. Consume a nose-to-tail animal-based diet, especially emphasizing raw organ meats like liver, bone marrow, and high-fat animal products. Move, engage in regular functional movement, including walking, lifting heavy things, sprinting, and physically demanding challenges, and multiple times a day. Shield, avoid harmful modern exposures like excessive electromagnetic fields, plastics, and processed chemicals. And he advocated for going barefoot and avoiding synthetic clothing. Connect, ground yourself by walking barefoot on natural surfaces, soaking in the sun, and being physically in touch with nature. Cold. Use cold exposure like ice baths or cold showers to build resistance and resilience and improve hormonal and mental health. The sun, get regular sun exposure to stimulate vitamin D production, maintain natural circadian rhythms. Fight, embrace struggle and challenges. Now, this could be physical, like working out, combat sports, or mental, discipline and purpose. And viewed struggle as key to building character and strength. And finally, bond. Foster strong relationships, especially with family and community. And he frequently posted about his close-knit family life and bonding activities. Now, as he went viral, he was flooded with media opportunities. And he bragged to his 6 million TikTok followers of his philosophy and led them to believe that he could teach them how to look similar by eating raw meat, exposing themselves to extreme cold, and engaging in those brutal physical challenges. He was at peak human performance, insisting that his incredible physique was achieved naturally. His supplement company, Heart and Soil, capitalized on this fame and sold products designed to complement this primal diet. Well, in December of 2022, he admitted to using performance-enhancing drugs in a YouTube video titled The Liver King Confession. I lied. This admission followed the leak of emails revealing his steroid use, including human growth hormone and anabolic steroids. And he acknowledged that he had been spending approximately $11,000 per month on these substances. He apologized for misleading his followers, stating, "I lied and I misled a lot of people," and confirmed that he was under the supervision of a hormone clinician. Again, prior to this, he had consistently denied using steroids, and even when directly questioned on podcasts and in interviews. In this episode, I interviewed the director Joe Perlman. UNTOLD, The Liver King explores the Liver King's rise to fame, the controversy, and the backlash of revealing his truth, and features interviews with Johnson himself, his family members, and business partners. Now, as Joe, the director, says, we live in a time when someone can reach hundreds of millions of people without going through any kind of traditional gatekeeping. No background checks, just a phone and a guy. And when shock and outrage gets views, what are you willing or even able to keep doing to stay at the top of that algorithm? This is truly one of those documentaries I could not believe. And I want to forewarn you, there are moments that they're very hard to watch because he's eating meat and also handling an animal. I had to look away in those moments, and it may be too hard for others. This is a heavy story about someone who crafted a narrative, a bombastic story, and potentially impacted other people's health. And you will be thinking about this story for days. UNTOLD, The Liver King really explores what it takes to build a brand and a persona. How does a family live inside of a myth? And what is the cost of becoming your own hero and the eventual come down? Here's my interview with Joe Perlman. Joe, I have to tell you, I watched this and I thought to myself, I don't think I can ever unsee this. I don't think I will ever stop thinking about this story. The first question is, how did this story find you?
That's a beautiful intro. I mean, I don't think I'll ever be able to leave the story behind either. I have been working for quite a while with a company called Fullwell 73, now Fullwell Entertainment, and Candle Media as well. And the guys were talking about potentially doing something about the Liver King. And it's definitely a story that very few of us who go on the internet, I would say, didn't get. The algorithm didn't throw it up for us. So it was something that I followed quite closely when it was going on online. And I felt like the opportunity to meet him was really exciting and to find out who he really was and to see what really happened during that period. And as you see from the film, I got a lot more than I was thought I was going to get, I think.
Well, the first thing I'm thinking is, how do you convince him to participate in this? And then when you do, where did you find him when you, emotionally, physically, where did you find him when you first started to talk to him?
Sure. I mean, it was not hard to convince him to do it. He was up for it. I think there was a couple of opportunities he's had to do something a bit earlier and he passed them up. But it was kind of one phone call and we were out a couple of weeks later to go and meet him at his ranch in Willis, Texas. And when I met him, I met the Liver King. That was the first thing that was shown to me. We sat in a green room as he did a podcast in his newly built podcast room, which you see in the film is the room we used for the master interview. And he was interviewing, I can't remember who it was that day, but he was full Liver King. Nothing had changed. And the first kind of conversations I had with him, he asked me what my intentions were and what we were going to make together. And I said very clearly, all the internet says a lot of things about you, and there's a lot to be said, of course, but I want to know who you really are. And I think there's a lot more going on than the world maybe is talking about. So I think he was curious from that moment, and we sort of got into it from then.
Now, was it one of those situations where right away he's opening up, or did it take a little bit of time to crack him open?
Well, there's opening up, and I think there's opening up. So there's two characters at play here, or there's probably hundreds of characters, but there's really two characters at play here. There's the Liver King, and then there's Brian Johnson. That first trip was very much the Liver King wanting to, give his narrative over and control the situation, control filming, set things up, which were supposedly meant to be randomly happening, and things would suddenly be kind of thrust upon us to film, and we didn't really have any control at that time. So in that sense, he did a very good job of not allowing me to get under his skin, essentially. But on the second trip, when he was much more relaxed with me and the team, we started chatting a lot more, and very quickly I started to understand who Brian was and what Brian was really struggling with, the actual person behind what we thought, what we saw.
So do you feel like the way that you made this and the way you experienced it is the way that this audience, like myself, is experiencing the story too? But like, he shows up as Liver King, and then we start to kind of peel the layer back.
Exactly that. That's kind of intentional. I'm glad you see that in the film. I think that when you meet him, the first frame of the film sort of tells you everything. It's a man pulling a dually truck, as he called it, a 4x4, through a field. And as as the car passes the camera, you see four men pushing the car along. And I think that sort of sets everything going of like, there's nothing you should question as an audience member. You should question absolutely everything in this film at all times. And I hope that's kind of what delivers for the audience.
Summer's just around the corner, and the folks at Mint Mobile have a hot take. Getting a summer bod is out, and getting your savings bod is in. This spring and summer, we want skimpy wireless bills and fat wallets. And with premium wireless plans for just $15 a month, you can have both without breaking a sweat or the bank. And let me tell you, the quality of Mint Mobile's wireless service in comparison to my old provider is mint. Say bye-bye to your overpriced wireless plans, jaw-dropping monthly bills, and unexpected overages. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all of your existing contacts. This year, skip breaking a sweat and breaking the bank. Get your summer savings and shop premium wireless plans at mintmobile.com/realitylife. That's mintmobile.com/realitylife. Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month 5GB plan required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customer offer for first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. Summer's almost here. It is my most favorite time of the year, and there's no better place to go for outdoor furniture than Wayfair. Wayfair's huge selection of outdoor essentials will help make your outdoor space more comfortable, functional, and most importantly, more you. Wayfair has all things outdoor and at unbelievable prices. So don't wait until summer's in full swing. You've got to get your outdoor space ready today so you can enjoy it all season long. I just love the look of white wicker in a backyard, and then to spruce it up with some blue or yellow pillows. Wayfair really has everything that you and I both need. Outdoor dining tables and sets, umbrellas, dining chairs, bar stools, grills, outdoor bars, even tableware. Their huge selection of home items makes it easy to find exactly what's right for you. And I got to tell you, my favorite part, it is free and easy delivery, even on the big stuff. So no more huge delivery fees for patio furniture. You can get big stuff like patio sets, gazebos, hot tubs, and more shipped free. Shop a huge selection of outdoor furniture online. This summer, get outside with Wayfair. Head to wayfair.com right now. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. Now, I also felt like as I watched the beginning of it, I'm looking at his children, who, by the way, seem so sweet, but I'm looking at their physicality. And, I'm a mom myself and thinking, you can usually get a sense of what someone's true body is by seeing the parent or the child. And immediately, because I wasn't totally familiar with him on social media. So I'm looking at their physicality versus his. And of course, my alarm bells are raised. What's that like when you are on his property and you see these sweet children and they're eating this crazy stuff and you see his physicality? Like, can you walk me kind of through what that would feel like as a filmmaker? And are you guys just like looking at each other with gigantic eyeballs? Like, are you witnessing this too?
Yes, essentially. I think we as filmmakers, we have the privilege of entering other people's lives, and often it's very hard to kind of stand back and just absorb it, because I think so often it's so foreign and so unlike anything you've seen before. And one of the first days we spent with the family was the meal that you see in the film, when he sits down and they have, as they called it, tartare. That's not the kind of tartare I've ever had. That's just raw mince on a plate. And, they're eating with their hands, and it immediately, there's alarm bells going off that what's actually going on here. And I think you see it in the film, the boys are reacting and potentially rebelling, as you see later in the film, to what their father has put in place for them. I think it comes from a good place. I just think, I'm not a father, so it's very hard for me to judge being a parent or anyone else's parental style. But I feel like those kids need some freedom, and I think they'd have that now. And I think that's actually as a result of the film. But those boys were at a very interesting turning point in their lives, I think, when we were with them.
When the camera's panning and the wife opens the pantry, I'm looking like a Zapruder film. Like, is there cereal there? Or like, so you've been in this home. Was it just straight meat all the time? Did they ever have like a protein bar or like a piece of lettuce?
If they were having a protein bar, it was a Liver King protein bar, if it was anything. But it was pretty much just protein, mostly raw, most meals, but a lot of things cooked as well. But yeah, it was a strange array of food. There was nothing, I would say, recognizable to what would you normally see in a family's house. But I also think that looking at those boys, maybe they are also finding food outside of the house, and there's a chance that maybe there's some slight rebelling going on.
And is there total isolation? Did you see other kids swing by and hang out at the house, or are they around other people?
The boys are homeschooled, so they were pulled out of school quite a few years ago. So they have some friends still from school, but other than that, it is quite an isolated life. And
the staff, when you were around them, are they all participating in this diet?
To an extent, I would say it's there's quite a sliding scale of believers and non-believers within the Liver King household, I would say. But most people are committed, at least in front of Brian and Barbara, to make the best effort they can. I mean, I'll give you an example. The first day we turned up filming, his lovely assistant, who we became very close during the filming, came up to me, and the first thing she did was she sniffed me. And I thought that was quite an odd introduction. Certainly didn't feel ancestral. And I asked what the problem was, and she said, "You're wearing aftershave." And I said, "Yeah." She's like, "I'm going to have to give you a different shirt. You're not going to be able to be around the boys and the family smelling like that."
Why?
Because according to Liver King and his ancestral tenets, the scent is an endocrine disruptor, and it can blah blah blah. So I don't know, but you're kind of immediately confronted with these sort of ideals. And to be honest, no, I can't change my t-shirts. No, I'm not going to do that. And I respect the life that you guys live, but equally you have to respect the life that I live as well. And yeah, there was quite a few times when Brian Liver King referred to us as smelling like shit, and to say that man has a good body odor would be quite a statement.
I would imagine. Wow.
Yeah, like old books.
How many women are on this property and involved in this business? Is it very little?
So at the time there was Barbara, his wife, his assistant and family assistant was also female, and also a couple of housekeepers as well. But beyond that, not so many.
And then as far as your team, your crew goes, were there any women?
that not on set. There were females in the UK back in production, but on set, yeah. I work with two guys that I've worked with on most of my films who, funnily enough, are vegan, which obviously, when it comes to this one, was quite a challenge.
Yeah, that must have been quite a challenge. Yeah, because when I'm watching it, I'm thinking about all the moving parts of it. And I wondered if there were a woman behind the scenes, would it set off the dynamics? Because he's just so alpha. It's such an alpha story. I wondered if it would have changed it up at all. What do you think?
I don't know. I think that it's an interesting point. I'm not really sure. I'm not alpha. I'm not trying to do that. I'm very relaxed, very comfortable with who I am, which often with people like Brian is an affront because they don't understand that someone maybe who isn't chiseled and doesn't dream of looking like Arnold Schwarzenegger and doing all those things is happy, which I think is often quite surprising to people like that. So, so I think that was interesting. I don't think he'd ever met anyone like me who was genuinely curious and interested in anything he was kind of saying at the time. But yes, I think that's an interesting point. I wonder if the dynamic would have changed, potentially. Mm.
Okay, once the temperatures start rising, I realized I was back to the same worn-out rotation. Same tank, same shorts, same everything. So I gave my daily uniform an upgrade with Quince. Their pieces are easy, elevated, and somehow make me feel more put together without even trying. Like 100% European linen shorts and dresses from $30. Luxe swimwear, Italian leather platform sandals, and so much more. And the best part, everything with Quince is priced 50 to 80% less than what you'd find at similar brands. By working directly with top artisans and cutting out the middlemen, Quince gives you luxury without the markup. And Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices in premium fabrics and finishes. Go get yourself the Oxford Relaxed shirt. I got mine in pale blue. You're going to wear it all the time and you're going to love it. Treat your closet to a little summer glow up with Quince. Go to quince.com/KKC for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's quince.com/KateCasey to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/KateCasey. When I put together my bag each day, I need the essentials, my wallet, my keys, and I also need my Liquid IV, which is helping me stay hydrated throughout the whole day. You can break the mold and own your own ritual with just one stick and 16 ounces of water, which hydrates better than water alone. Powered by Hydroscience, an optimized ratio of electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients that turn ordinary water into extraordinary hydration, 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink. 8 essential vitamins and nutrients, always non-GMO, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, and soy-free. And I gotta tell you, the best flavors. You have a multitude of flavors, acai berry and lemon lime to pina colada, or you can choose from their line of sugar-free flavors like raspberry lemonade, white peach, and rainbow sherbet. Get ready for a long day with extraordinary hydration from Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use code KateCasey at checkout. That's 20% off your first order with code KateCasey at liquidiv.com. So the part about him lying, when you were around him and as this sort of unfolds on camera, can you just put me in your shoes for a moment and walk me through the realization of people in his camp that this lie had happened, and then Brian's release of this lie?
Of course. Well, for most of the Liver King's campaign, he was constantly asked about whether or not he had taken any performance-enhancing drugs. And throughout every single interview, everything he did, he would deny it wholeheartedly. And even, as we discuss in the film, create content parody to even talk about taking drugs. So I think a lot of the people in the team around him did truly believe that he wasn't, which I know by even saying that, the internet is like, what are you talking about?
Right.
But at the same time, I've never seen anyone work out like this. Like, it's beyond it's beyond anything I've ever seen. I've worked with Olympic athletes before, and I've never seen anything like this. So maybe that adds to it, maybe that takes away from it. So I guess the questioning of it is very interesting. And to be so absolutely not, unequivocally no to everyone, that I think when it broke, he'd sold a lot of people on an idea of a different life And if there's anything that internet stories and kind of what's going on in the world right now, those ideas are interesting. There's a lot of things he talks about that are interesting. Putting down your phone and being with your family, you telling me that's a bad thing? It's not a bad thing. So you can engage in a lot of what he's talking about. But underlying the whole thing clearly was such an intense bed of lies that was clearly curated and created to manipulate a marketing campaign that led to greater numbers for your business. Well, that's wholly dishonest. And, it verges on criminal activity, let's be honest. And Brian willingly accepts that and knows that he just didn't get caught. And he didn't. I guess more fool everyone else. I don't know. I don't know how you look at this kind of thing.
One other thing that I really did appreciate too is I think that this whole world of influencers is infinitely interesting. And certainly this is someone who stood out, especially I think kind of during COVID. And there are moments where you peel that layer back and we see the other side of being an influencer. And specifically, there's a moment where he said, I must take hundreds of videos every day. And you see the guy that's actually taking the video. Witness to this story, this gentleman at this moment in time in an influencer-rich ecosystem. What can you say about the life of an influencer through the lens of Brian Johnson? How exhausting is this?
Oh my God, relentless. As a director, the worst possible thing for me would be to be on the other side of the camera. Well, imagine someone filming you the whole time, but also you're encouraging that the whole time. I liken it to, I've made a lot of films about celebrities. And one of the big things with celebrities and the reason they are able to exist within their own bubble is because they create this universe for themselves. They are the center, and that's all that matters. There's nothing else outside of that. So, once you create that and everyone is, waiting on bated breath on every word that you're saying and the opportunity to make the next video that can go viral, as Brian says in the film, that can feel like cocaine. I can only imagine that feeling can be very dangerous because everyone's on every single word that you say, you're getting an instant reaction. And that's why often the internet is so dangerous. It gives opportunities to people who may have interesting ideas, but to develop them to a point where it's dangerous. And there's no traditional gatekeeping in this situation, which either is a positive or a negative. I don't know. Maybe people have benefits from a lot of the ideas that Brian has put out into the world, but underlying it all is nonsense. And that's what's really sad about this.
So as it winds down, we're kind of looking in broad scope of this story and what happened. And this, as you mentioned, this massive success he experienced and then the come down of the lie. As you walked away, and this is a two-part question, how long did it take to film this story? How long ago was it? Actually, 3 parts. And the third, as you left, how did you see him evolve from the person that you first met at the beginning of the project?
We filmed this over a 6-7 month period with 3 trips to see him. We finished filming last summer. At the end of last summer. And my impression of Brian walking away was, here we go again. I think he was, again, I liken it to a WWE wrestler. It's all these people have multiple characters and he's just ready for the next character to get going. He says it in the film, what's next? Yeah. Well, I'm going to open all these ranches. Well, 6 months down the line, I don't know if that's even happening anymore. And it'd be interesting to see what happens. But the reality is there's this constant reinvention that happens with this type of character. And whether or not the people buy into a new version or whatever, or are willing to forgive, I don't know. That's not for me to say. But I think in the film, you're left with a sense of this person may have some interesting ideas, but these internet characters are dangerous and we should be very, very careful who we follow and who we listen to.
It also reminds me of, I interview so many reality stars too, and there's sort of 3 layers to it. They film the show and they experience that, and then they watch it play back and they hear what other people think about them. And then the third layer of it is what the audience thinks. And then the next season they come back as a different person because all of those things factor. How do you think this is going to change Brian once he sees the feedback, once people watch this? Because some of the scenes are quite barbaric. They're hard to watch.
I don't know that he cares. about what people are going to say, if I'm honest. I don't know.
He's truly a reality star then.
I think that's the case. I think, he, as I say, he's on a new journey of reinvention, and hopefully people get to speak to him over the next week or so about what that means and what that is. But yeah, I just don't know if it matters to him. I just don't know if it matters.
Joe, this is so well done. I'm going to say it's probably going to be top 5 of Netflix as soon as it comes out. I think you really did a great job telling this very complex story. And everybody can watch Untold, the Liver King. It's released on Netflix on May 13th. Tell everybody where they can find you.
I'm on Instagram at Joe_Perlman and Twitter, exactly the same thing. And yeah, I really hope everyone loves it. It was a labor of love, and it was one hell of an experience making it, as you can imagine. So I hope that translates onto the screen.
The amazing Kate Casey.
I want to thank my fantastic guest, Joe Perlman, and remind you to click subscribe. Please leave a 5-star review. And then also make sure that you join the Facebook group Reality Life with KKC. I want to know what you think about this documentary. And then also check out my bonus episodes by going to Patreon, patreon.com/KKC, and follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram at @KKCCA, TikTok, it's KKC, Twitter, Threads, and Blue Sky at KKC. And check back all this week for all new episodes.
As a contractor for the NSA, Edward Snowden had access to a range of top-secret government programs. But as he learned more about these clandestine operations, he came to understand a devastating secret. The government was conducting mass surveillance on its own citizens. Hi, I'm Lindsey Graham, the host of Wondery's show, American Scandal. We bring to life some of the biggest controversies in U.S. history: presidential lies, environmental disasters, corporate fraud. In our latest series, whistleblower Edward Snowden changes the national conversation about privacy on the internet as he risks his own freedom and his family's well-being. Follow American Scandal on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. Listen to all episodes ad-free and be the first to binge the newest season only on Wondery Plus. You can join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify. Start your free trial today.